So I was gifted with a day off today because one of my clients was trying to take himself out for obvious reasons. Of course, everyone has different ways of reacting to this place. He is an empath and he's very emotional, so he's getting the brunt of the realm. Anyway, aside from that, I wanted to touch on, he's okay, he's in the hospital, but he's okay. I wanted to touch on what a sub was asking me to talk about regarding Matt from Quantum of Conscience, and also regarding a sect called Sabbatean Frankists, or something along those lines. The same person, first name, last name, I believe, is his handle. Something like that. I don't remember. Anyway, he was the one that said David Icke, or this information was spilled on the David Icke 1 million plus people podcast, or live, whatever it was. I don't know what the platform was. I have no idea. Podcast, whatever. Where are we going? I don't know. Maybe this is the right way. And also, he wanted me to talk about the sheeple and reacting and whatnot. Its role. Now, I'm just doing this because why not? I've talked about all these things. I have not talked about any Sabbatean Frankists, actually. That's a new one on me. But how to deal with sheeple with their head up their asses who are reactive to everything. I've talked about that quite a bit. And my opinion on that one is just don't react. You know what reacting feels like. In a war that's fueled by emotions, where emotions are the energetic currency that are bought and sold, you don't just let them fly. You know what I'm saying? That is your most valuable currency, your emotions. So you don't just spout off over anything. You don't just go spout off about Black Lives Matter just because the media machine's pumping that out. The media machine is there to harvest emotion. It's only there to harvest emotion, for no other reason. The only reason. Harvest emotion. Don't do that. You can think of the NPC sheeple that you're so upset about. Okay, there's another emotion that's being harvested. You can think of them as little, they're little, what do you call it? Like, nipple, twisters, teasers. Like those suction cups that women put on their breasts when they're trying to get some milk out, right? That's the NPCs they're sucklers on you. They're trying to tease some milk out, right? That's what they're doing. So if you react in any way, shape, or form, in a manner that is outside of your own will, you know what I'm saying? I can decide for the most part if I want to react in a situation. I'm not saying I'm 100% good at it. I'm very good at it. I'm not 100%. I'm 99.9. And occasionally, the situation is so ridiculous that I have to react. But for the most part, I don't. Okay? So outside of that, the only way to approach what are known as NPCs or sheeple is, number one, realize that they are just programs. So you don't go reacting to all the programs on your computer, right? No, they have a specific function. You don't go getting mad at programs for existing. It's ridiculous. So realize that they're running a program and that there isn't any internal awareness. So there's nothing to talk to in those types of beings, or they're not even beings. I don't know what programs. Nothing to talk to. You can go to a program on the computer and type in some words. If it's a chatbot, right? A chatbot is also a program. A chatbot can spit words back at you, and it feels almost like a conversation, but you can tell that the depth is lacking. You can tell that there's an information barrier, there's a potentiality barrier. You can sense it right away. Same thing with the NPCs. So realize, number one, that they are a program and there's a specific way to interact. See, like, I just got a call from, I think, Arlington, Virginia. Is that correct? Got a call from Arlington, Virginia. I don't even get spam calls anymore. So that's an attempt to pull the nipple and get milk out, right? And it caught me off guard, so I probably gave them a little bit. Because I was like, fuck you. Leave me alone. Now I have 2 videos to try to compile. Right? And you can always take it as like a personal thing. You can always take it as a personal thing, or you can just let it be. Like, all in all, the realm is neutral. All in all, it's absolutely neutral. Existence is absolutely neutral. Chess is a draw. You have to remember that. You would do well to remember that. You don't have to remember that. So realize that they're a program, number one, and that there's a specific way to react to programs. React the same way with all of them, and that's treat them as you would a human being which you have no interest in interacting with other than the banal necessities. Give no emotion whatsoever. Because outside of, backfill people ideas, just to have them there, for aesthetics as props. Aside from that role, they also fill the role of pulling on that nipple and teasing out some milk for the archons, right? So have a preset method with which to deal with the NPCs in absolute neutrality. You don't get anywhere arguing with them. You produce loosh by arguing with them. You're not going to further your cause. You can argue with a so-called real, and instead of your energy just getting sucked away into the vat to get consumed, bought and sold by whoever the fuck, you're giving an energetic exchange with the real being you're speaking with. So there's some sort of balance. There's a reciprocity involved, where it's not involved when you're simply being siphoned off of. So that's my stance, right? As far as goes I already forgot the name of it. Weird ass name. As far as goes the ones who I talked about earlier in the video, as mentioned by first name, last name, I forgot the name already. I don't keep concepts in my mind. I just don't. I don't try to. I don't keep, unless they appear a certain amount of times, I don't keep them. Anyway, you all can remember. You can look back, rewind, find out what the name of it was. But I know the gist of it, as was told to me by first name, last name, and the gist of it is that this particular group is the head of the deep state, and their mission is to make everything as fucked up and horrifying and torturous as literally possible, intentionally, to get God or whoever to get salvation by salvation through the negative, right? Enlightenment through the negative, because both are possible. Supposedly, apparently, maybe, I don't know. It's speculative at best. I'm not really sure. I would never condone violence for the sake of some far-fetched idea that we're going to get God to pay attention to us here in this forlorn, forsaken place by making it so loud and ugly in here. I wouldn't condone doing that. Of course, unless I had enough information that said, yes, that's a reasonable thing to try, which I probably still wouldn't, even if I saw that was a reasonable thing to do. in some understandings. I probably would not condone that. Simply because part of what I've learned thus far here is that there's never an ultimatum. Ever. There is never any actual force applied. It's very difficult to understand that. But it doesn't exist. Like, actual force does not exist. It requires some form of acquiescence, some form of reaction. That's the only way that it can exist. So if somebody did manage to persuade me that unless we go down this negative route where we have to torture and rape consciousness and destroy the earth while we're hiding behind our black magic screens because XYZ, if somebody ever were to convince me of that, that would simply mean that I took whatever bait was offered. You never have to take the bait in any situation. You were never forced to do anything. Okay? The 0 point can't be forced to do anything. It laughs. Like the 0 point, it doesn't even laugh because it's nothing. It's just doing something in the first place is going out of the 0 point. Having a thought is going out of the 0 point. So it's a ridiculous notion. That's more matrix stuff. That's more ties that bind for you. There are many of those here. Almost everything here is a tie that binds. Almost everything here is a tie that binds. What else could it be? If it wasn't a situation where something was binding you, then your spirit would just float on up out of here. There's nothing holding it besides the ties, right? There's not like a nameless gravity holding everyone here. They're held here by the fucking ties that they remember with their mind. So, that's that. Oh, I also wanted to say that whatever hole in the algorithm allowed me to tag Matt and get a bunch of views back in the day, that hole has been patched because my channel is known now for what it is. Like, Matt's channel is allowed to be as big as it is for some specific reason. I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. I just know that every single channel that has an alive being on it, an aware being, is fully known by the Dark Ones, 100%. And they try to moderate. They try to. The energetics keep things in a specific spot. Like, whatever it is that I put out is only suitable for a certain amount of people. What Matt puts out is suitable for a certain amount of people. My magic number seems to be 2,000, whatever the fuck it's at. 2,000 something, I don't know. 200. And it doesn't ever move. Like, it hasn't moved for like a year. That means that my channel is not being exposed to any new people. Either that or the content is so ridiculous that everyone is just turned off immediately. But of course I know that's not true. And an emotionally engaging person who speaks at all intelligently is a saleable product. So obviously this channel's getting honed to the correct spot, or has already been, and that's what it is. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I wouldn't have anything to say even if you were to put me in front of a bunch of people, even if you were to put me in front of 10,000 people instead of 2,000 or 60 whatever, 65,000 like Matt. I wouldn't have anything to say. I don't have a lot to say now. I can yell and laugh and scream about the heavy nature of the realm and how nasty it is and how weighty all the control structures are, because they're gross. No, it's not fun to sit here and try to earn money. None of it is like fun, for the most part. For the most part, it's nasty. It's a drudge, you know. Especially being that most of the people are robotic or NPCs. That just makes it painful for living beings to maneuver through the reality. It's actually painful to see everyone wearing masks when COVID's obviously a farce of sorts. It's painful to be forced to wear a mask to go on the bus. It's painful. It's ridiculous. And you have to make the choice then, do I put up a fight? do I fight the bus driver over something which to me is fully ridiculous, but he can't comprehend it because he's either an NPC or closed off or a mixture? You know, I'm not interested in giving my energy away, even to, it may be more conserving of energy to put the mask on and play along with their Halloween game till you get off the bus. I don't know. But I know that me tagging Quantum of Conscience, it only lent to lots of views for the first few videos. There was like the tube was open for a little while. People were able to see my channel. The videos were able to be promoted and whatnot. And then it closed back up, and whoever's already on the channel is who's allowed to see it. That's algorithms, That's what it is. So, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna have to stitch these two videos together because I had a random call from somewhere. I wonder if I can